There's a quiet heartbreak happening in homes across the country, and you've probably heard whispers of it. It's the story of a man, often in his early 50s, walking away from a decades-long marriage. A marriage that seemed stable, a life that seemed set. This isn't a rare event. It's a trend known as gray divorce, and it has doubled in recent decades. The most shocking part, it's overwhelmingly men who are initiating the split. They're leaving right when their wives believe it is finally time to relax and enjoy the life they built together. But why now? What is really going on behind closed doors when a man hits 50 and decides to start over? For many men, this decision isn't a sudden storm but a slow-building pressure that finally bursts. They've reached a point where they're asking big, existential questions about legacy, purpose, and what they've done with their lives. Some people call it a midlife crisis, but for many, it feels more like a moment of painful clarity. They look at their life and feel a growing sense of invisibility or a feeling that they've lost their youthful power. Instead of confronting this deep dissatisfaction with themselves, a feeling that they've become a spectator in their own life, they often misattribute this internal struggle to the relationship itself. The easiest target is the one standing right in front of them, the person who reminds them of every year that's passed. They believe a new car, a new hobby, or a new person will somehow fix the ache inside. They want to shed their old skin and believe the quickest way to do that is to shed the person who knew them when they had it all. What they're really doing is trying to escape themselves, but that's only half the story. In so many long-term relationships, women have been doing the emotional labor for decades. This isn't just about making dinner or cleaning the house. It's the invisible, exhausting work of being the family's emotional thermostat. Women often plan the birthdays, manage the schedules, nurture the family, and smooth over every conflict, all while their own emotional needs go unmet. And often, men don't realize the sheer weight of this invisible labor until it's gone. At the same time, many men feel emotionally neglected sexually, physically, or otherwise, but they don't have the language to express their needs or the tools to fix them. Over years, these small, unspoken disappointments harden into a deep-seated resentment. Instead of having a tough conversation or going to therapy, they choose what seems like the easier way out. They just leave. It's a tragic breakdown of communication, not a sudden loss of love, and it's a quiet surrender to the pain that's been building for years. This decision is often fueled by a powerful societal double standard. The culture gives men a pass to reinvent themselves later in life. A man in his 50s who wants to sell everything and move to Portugal to learn guitar is celebrated as living life on his own terms. A woman who wants to do the same is often met with skepticism or judgment, expected instead to settle into her golden years. This creates a heartbreaking imbalance. A man might look at his wife and see a reminder of his own aging, his responsibilities, and a version of himself he wants to outrun. What he often fails to realize is that she might be craving reinvention, too, not without him, but with him. The tragic part is that the physical changes of aging, like a woman's body shifting during menopause, can be misinterpreted by some men as a loss of attraction. Instead of talking through those shifts and learning to love a new kind of intimacy, they retreat and chase after younger partners who represent the youth they feel they've lost. And then there's the empty nest, a time many couples assume will be their second honeymoon. For a lot of them, it's just a reality check. Without the buffer of kids, school schedules, and soccer games, couples are suddenly forced to confront the emotional distance that has grown between them. It's a moment of truth. If the marriage feels hollow or emotionally disconnected, the silence can be deafening. Some men realize too late that they never invested in the emotional bond, and instead of owning that, they blame the marriage itself. They see the empty house as a signal that their time as a family man is over and it is time to go on a new adventure alone. This painful realization that their purpose has disappeared can lead them to believe that the marriage is also over without ever considering the possibility of rediscovering each other. This is all made easier by a false sense of financial freedom. In the past, money often kept unhappy couples together. But in today's world, many couples hit midlife with dual incomes and paid-off homes. Men can feel that since they've fulfilled their financial duty paying off the house and putting the kids through college, the exit will be clean. But what they don't realize is that post-divorce life is rarely cheaper. They leave thinking they're chasing freedom, but they often find financial fragmentation with assets and retirement funds split down the middle. This pursuit of a new life is also often a chase for external validation. It has a desperate hope that attention from younger women or a new community will prove they still have it. But this validation is almost always temporary, and the deep loneliness that follows a burned-down, decades-long relationship is often irreversible. The thrill of a new beginning fades, leaving them to face the same insecurities they tried to outrun. But don't just take our word for it. The comments on this topic reveal a raw and sometimes brutal truth. We found one man who claimed that most men leave because their wives let themselves go. He says they stop dressing up, lose interest in sex, and nag their husbands for wanting to go out with friends or buy a fun car. But another commenter fired back, pointing out that men also age, they go bald, their bodies change, and they're certainly not as attractive as they were in their youth. This is where the real ugliness surfaces. One commenter simply stated that the reason is that older men can typically get younger women. Older women cannot typically get younger men. This shocking honesty reveals a deep societal bias that colors these decisions. Another comment from a wellness center pointed out that women in their 50s are often going through menopause, a physical and emotional change that many men simply don't understand or choose to ignore, further widening the gap. Ultimately, this isn't about painting men as villains or women as victims. It's a story about a lack of vulnerability. It's a reckoning with the fact that for decades, many couples simply stopped talking about their fears, their needs, and their disappointments. They built a life side by side, but grew further and further apart. The tragedy isn't just the end of a marriage. It's a missed opportunity to evolve together. Because when do people commit to growing with each other instead of apart, the second half of marriage can be the most meaningful chapter of all. Divorce doesn't solve the core problems of aging and insecurity. It simply relocates them.